What's good? It's your boy Jay, that's me. We're going to get into TNA Impact from March the 6th, 2025. An okay show for the most part. We are building towards Sacrifice, which takes place on Friday, March the 14th. And it's shaping up to be a pretty okay card for the most part. So we kick the show off with the first match of the night. Elijah defeats Brian Myers. He wins via the Tombstone Pile Driver. He calls it the Highwayman's Farewell. Okay, I like that. Pretty cool name. Interesting. But Okada from AEW, he uses the Tombstone, but it's more of a sequence move, not a finisher. Oh boy, gone are the days where finishers were protected in pro wrestling. But modern day, nah. These wrestlers kick out of any and everything. Oh boy. So post-match, the System, they attack Elijah. Joe Hendry comes out to make the save with his guitar. And the System, they scatter. Fuck the System. Again, this is the problem with TNA. They continue to push and use talent that aren't over. Again, the System has been there for years. It's time for TNA to part ways with the System. And yes, I know they ended up re-signing the System, but they didn't need to at all. They could keep JDC, but get rid of Eddie Edwards, Moose, Brian Myers, and Alicia Edwards. Like, please. Ugh. Moving on. So, Gia Miller is backstage with Ace Austin and the Rascals. Ace Austin says their match against the Northern Armory is their first test. Ace Austin says he knows he did some terrible things to Trey over the years, but he never pretended to be his friend. Zachary Wentz says that the Northern Armory is going to learn to stay out of their damn business. All right, that's fine there. Moving on. So First Class, they show up. This is the second installment of the First Class Penthouse. Who gives a shit about this? AJ Francis says the streets are talking about the first episode, and they had to do a second one. AJ Francis introduces his guest, who's a prize fighter, but he thinks he's always right, that being KC. No, he's talking about KO. Probably Kevin Owens, who really gives a shit. Then he says it's KC Navarra. So AJ Francis says he's going to put the boots to Steve Maclin. Steve Maclin comes out, and KC Navarra says nobody invited him. Steve Maclin tells him to shut their damn mouths, and they talk too damn much. Maclin then calls AJ Francis T-Moo Suge Knight. And then AJ Francis says he'll give Maclin 30 minutes and he'll whip his ass. I don't care about any of this bullshit. This is a waste of fucking time. Steve Maclin is a gatekeeper. Same thing with AJ Francis. Look, Steve Maclin's been in TNA for 4 years. It's time for TNA to part ways with Steve Maclin, all right? He's not over. I know they're feuding him with Eric Young in the Northern Armory, but no one cares about this shit. Moving on. Savannah Evans, she defeats Zaya Brookside. She wins via a clothesline from the back of the head for the 1-2-3. She faked a knee injury. So the referee was about to call for the bell, but, it was all a ruse. Moving on. So Spitfire, they're backstage. They get the Elegance Brand, which is Heather and Act by Elegance, hotel keys, and they give them a punk/gothic makeover. And then they go to a park, and Spitfire gives them a bag of chicken to eat, which is kind of funny. So this is pretty interesting stuff here. I like this. This is funny. Really good comedic stuff here. Spitfire, they're okay. Again, I wish that Danny Luna was on her own. She can actually go. Jody Threat, I could see her like an AEW or NWA or even MLW. I think it's time for TNA to start parting ways with the Scott D'Amore talent. You know, it's just time to get those types of talent out of TNA. It's just time. Moving on. So the Good Hands, they're out, and so John Skyler said that he's going to take him out like the trash that he is, and he's going to do it with these great hands. Talking about his opponent, Mike Santana. Mike Santana defeats John Skyler via the spin the block. No, my bad. He actually wins via a running power bomb for the 1-2-3. That's how much I didn't give a fuck about this match. So post match, Jason Hotch, he attempts to attack Mike Santana, but he hits spin the block. Then Mustafa Ali, he appears on the screen, and Savannah. My bad. And Mike Santana says, he's completely unhinged, and he went to officials and said, this should be a safe working environment. Mustafa Ali says Mike Santana has been randomly selected for a urine test, a urine sample. And so, an official comes down the ramp and he hands him, a sample jar. And Mike Santana, he swats it away. Yo, this is good shit. I'm loving this. This is good. This is great. I love this. This is really, really good stuff here. Mustafa Ali is a great heel. I love this. This is excellent. I'm actually loving this feud between Mike Santana and Mustafa Ali, and it should be a really good match. So this is interesting stuff. Love it. Really good shit. What is not good stuff is AJ Francis versus Steve Maclin. AJ Francis wins. The Northern Armory, they got involved. Who cares? Steve Maclin was he was distracted by Eric Young and the rest of the Northern Armory. And who cares about this shit? I don't care about this feud at all. So AJ Francis wins via the down payment, which is the choke slam. Who cares? Ugh. Moving on. So Ryan Nemeth is backstage. So he's excited to join Joe Hendry and the Hardys team. But Matt Hardy says he's not on the team. Matt Hardy says, my bad. Matt Hardy FaceTimes Nic Nemeth and says they want him on their team. And Nick is excited for him and Ryan. But Matt says Ryan's not on the team because no one trusts him. Nic Nemeth asked him to let him break the news to Ryan. Matt says he's in the room. So Ryan is in tears and he says that he hates them all. Who gives a shit? Fuck this shit. I really don't give a fuck about Ryan Nemeth. And this tells me that they're probably going to end up turning Nic Nemeth heel. Probably after this match, they're going to end up turning Nic Nemeth heel. It makes sense. I still think that the plans are going to be Nic Nemeth and Joe Hendry, part 3 at Rebellion. So there's that. Moving on. So Steve Maclin, he looks to attack the Northern Armory. Backstage, Eric Young stops him and says they're doing this for him, and he knows what's better for him than he does. Frankie Kazarian says he's watching him crash and burn, and Steve Maclin just dips out. I don't care about this shit at all. Again, this is all a waste of time. Get all these guys off of our televisions. Please, TNA. Please. This is all just lame, nonsensical bullshit. Moving on. So we get a face-off between Moose and Oba Femi. So Oba, he comes out, standing with Moose. Moose comes out with the system and a bunch of security. So Oba says, what's all of this? Moose says that this is for Oba's protection. Oba says last year he was on his way to becoming the greatest North American champion in NXT, But there was rumblings about Moose. Oba says they're not rumblings, they're demands. Oba says he couldn't help but wonder after all the time, why now? Moose says he's a prize fighter and he always fights for the biggest prize in the game. Moose says he waited because he knew Oba would be the NXT World Champion, so that way he could cross the line, that being Moose. Oba says he understands he's one of the most freakish athletes in the game, and that he's taken down some of the biggest names in the business, but none of those names are him. Him being Oba Femi. Moose says in a few days at Madison Square Garden, MSG, he's going to dethrone the ruler, and he's going to become the face of the franchise, and there's nothing he can do about it. Oba says, why didn't he get rid of security? Moose says he knew he would say that. So JDC tells the security that the first person to jump Oba joins the system. So then Oba just takes them all out. And then Oba, he destroys the rest of the system. Then Moose spears Oba from behind. And he holds up both the X Division Championship as well as the NXT Championship. So this is okay stuff here. Clearly, Oba is going to win on next Tuesday at Roadblock. And I am excited about this. This actually should be the main event of that show. So, yeah. Moving on. So we get a backstage segment involving Fraxium. They cut a backstage promo. Axiom says they'll not just be the TNA World Tag Team Champions, they'll be the best team in history. Nathan Frazier says they'll cement themselves as one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Axiom says they'll be watching closely as they face the Colognes. All right, that's fine. The Northern Armory, they defeat Ace Austin and the Rascals because Wesley and his crew, Tyson and Tyreek, they get involved. And Wesley is able to distract Trey Miguel, and that's allowed for Eric Young to hit the pile driver on Trey Miguel. What the hell? Fuck this shit. This is a waste of time, man. This is an absolute waste of time. Why is Eric Young still on my television? Can we not just put Eric Young as a producer? TNA got rid of PCO. They got rid of Rhino. But you can't get... And they also got rid of Scott D'Amore. But you can't fucking get rid of Eric Young. What is going on here? Get rid of Eric Young. Get rid of Steve Macklin. Get rid of Moose. Get rid of Sami Callihan. Get rid of all these guys that can't make you money. Like, these guys aren't over it. Get rid of AJ Francis as well. Like, what the hell is going on here? Ugh. Moving on. So, Mike Santana, he's pissed off. So he finds Santino Marella, and he asks him if he thinks this is right, and that he's never, not once, given an indication that he slipped up. Santino says there are some bosses that are above him, and tells him to prove them wrong and just get it out of the way. So Mike Santana sees Tasha Steelz talking down to a guy who's working for Mustafa Ali, getting his coffee. So Mike Santana says that he's got him, and he grabs the cup of coffee and he goes into the bathroom, and we all know what's gonna happen next. So yeah, moving on. So we then get some more Spitfire stuff. So Jody Threat and Denny Luna, they force Ash and Headed by Elegance to be their personal concierge to do tasks. So they're in the gym. They're working out and all that stuff. They're doing a bunch of different shit. all that. So, there's an incident that breaks out between Spitfire and the janitor, who ends up being George Iceman, the concierge in disguise. So, asked by Elegance and Heather, they attack Spitfire, lay him out, and they bounce out. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That makes sense, I guess. Pretty interesting stuff there. Moving on. So Masha Slamovich, she shows up. She gets on the mic, and she says that she calls out Cora Jade. So she says when Cora Jade steps in the ring with her at TNA Sacrifice, it's not going to be a match, it's going to be a fight. She says it's a fight she's not going to walk out of because Masha is built differently. So Cora Jade comes out. Cora tells Masha all she hears is someone who knows that their title reign is coming to an end. Masha then tells Cora Jade she's going to expose her as someone who is not a real fighter. After she does, once he's through with her, then then she my bad. Then she can move on. So basically, Tessa Blanchard shows up. She attacks Masha from behind. Masha is then saved by Lei Ying Lee, who makes the save and takes out Tessa Blanchard and Cora Jade. So the two of them stand tall, and this basically is probably going to set up maybe a tag match next week, maybe. That's what it seems like to me. So I guess that's fine, I guess. All right. I'm down for this. Again, that makes me wonder with what happened on Tuesday at NXT. That makes me wonder if this was all a ruse from Cora Jade. Hopefully it was, just to protect her. If it's not, then Cora Jade just needs to kind of see what other avenues she can do. Maybe be like a commentator. Maybe be like a backstage interviewer. Maybe be a manager for somebody. I don't know. That's what I would do. So hopefully we can get Cora Jade and Masha Slamovich at Sacrifice. Moving on. So Mustafa Ali, he sees Tasha Steelz. He asks her for an update. She tells him that the coffee was delivered, but it wasn't right. So she sent the guy back out to go get it. He says he doesn't care about that. And he asked about Mike Santana's drug test. Tasha Steelz says that she just spoke with Santino Marella. And unfortunately, Mike Santana's drug test came back negative. So he passed it. So Mustafa Ali, he's pissed off. He says they've got to find a way to get him to take another drug test or something. So she then hands Mustafa Ali his coffee. He takes a sip. And then he shoos away Tasha Steelz because he drunk the piss of of Mike Santana. I love this feud. This is great. Good stuff. Moving on. So before the main event, Ryan Nemeth, his sorry ass shows up. He says that his big brother, Nic Nemeth, is going to be back in 8 days at Sacrifice. So the main event of the evening was the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, versus the Colognes, Eddie and Orlando. This was basically a DQ. The system came in, they got involved, everyone started brawling. So Santino Marella, he came out, and he basically now made the 10-man tag match. It's going to be contested inside of a steel cage. Oh, boy. Not good. This is something that AEW would do. They really would do some shit like this. I don't know why we're doing this, it looks stupid. 8-man tags are already bad enough, but when you do 10-man tags, and especially a steel cage at that, now you're just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Am I excited for this match? No, not really. Obviously, this is going to be the main event, I guess. So, it is what it is. TNA was okay for the most part this week. I liked the Moose and Oba Femi stuff. That was pretty cool. The Mustafa Ali, Mike Santana stuff was pretty good. The Spitfire and the Elegance Brand stuff was great. That was solid stuff. Everything else on the show was just there. It was all right. But what did you guys think of TNA? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.